Hey, what's up, everyone? Ralph here. So, in this video, we have a woman who is approaching her 30s, and she's caught in between with what she wants to do with her life, right? She's not sure where she wants to go now that she's approaching that, that big 3-0. And I'm sure we all know what it is, but let's hear what she has to say, and then I'll break it down afterwards.
I feel like no one talks about late 20s, like 27, 28, 29. Everyone talks about early 20s, mid 20s, but no one talks about late 20s, at least on this app. And I feel like it's just a really interesting place to be, especially now, because we got affected by COVID. And society has always said, like, by your late 20s, early 30s, you kind of have figured out. And I just feel like me and all my friends don't really have our figured out at all. Excuse me for my language. But we're all living at home. Not all, but a lot of us are living at home. We're like in between jobs. Some of us are single, or some of us are in serious relationships, but we're not ready for marriage quite yet. And it's just a weird place to be, because I always thought in my late 20s I would have everything figured out, and I just don't. It's just I feel like a lot of my friends are having like mental breakdowns, like not actually, but just we all thought we would have our lives together, and we don't. And I don't hear anyone talk about it. It's not fun. Like, being late 20s is like not that fun, because I feel like early 20s we got to party and we traveled and we got everything out, and late 20s we're like, okay, now we have to actually lock in, and I don't even know what to lock into. Like, it's just, I don't know. So let me know if this is relatable at all.
I mean, it's kind of obvious what you need to lock into, right? You need to lock into finding a man, getting married, and having some kids. That's obvious what it is. I mean, that's what you need to lock into, because like, what else are you going to do? Like, I mean, you can only party so much, right? You want to party into your 30s and 40s, like, I mean, that's no fun. So what you really need to lock into is a man and get married and have some kids, because I mean, you got a lot of women who are confused, right? They're especially in today's society, right? They're trying to figure out if they should go the career route, right? Where they should focus on the career, make some money, all right? And we already see how that's going. There's a lot of women that just aren't happy. They don't want to climb the ladder, right? They find it miserable. They have no purpose when it comes to these jobs. They don't like it. They're even leaving jobs that have make good money to go find a job that's less stressful and make less money. So you can see a lot of women going in that direction. Or you can go where your biology is telling you to go, and that's, find a husband and take care of some babies, right? Make some babies and take care of your kids, which is what we all know is what makes women happy, right? This is where they're the most happiest. But we live in a society where, we're telling women, focus on your career, right? You don't need to worry about a man having kids. You can focus on your career, and then by the time you're hitting your 40s, you can then start thinking about having a family. When we all know that's just not the most that's not the best route to go, right? Because in your 40s, like, the chances, you're at a time where your eggs are probably that fertile, and it's harder to have children at that time. But we have a lot of women going in that direction, right? And you see why. And she talks about it herself, right? She said a lot of her friends are having mental breakdowns because they're all confused as well, right? Like, she talks about, having it all figured out. Like, nobody really ever has it all figured out. Like, the goal is just not to have everything figured out, right? Life is just this journey, and you try to set yourself up to be as successful as you can, right? We understand, like, for a man, right? We want to be able to, obviously make money, so therefore we can eventually, like, make enough money for when we do find a woman that we want to marry and then have kids, that we're able to provide for them. Okay. And a woman wants to, find a man that can that can provide for them, so they can, stay home and then take care of kids, right? Which is which is where women find themselves the happiest. Going out there and working, busting your butt, stressing out over a job is not, you don't see a lot of women happy. That they're not finding happiness there. Right? You see it all the time. They're miserable. They don't like it. They hate the process of climbing the ladder, because it's not something that drives them. It's not something that motivates them. It's not where they find their happiness, right? A man, we go out there, we understand it's work, right? We want to provide, so it's just work. We're not going there to look for happiness. And she talks about her friends being so miserable because they're just confused. Like, they're told to go this route where focus on the career, and for some reason, once they start hitting that age where, that clock is ticking, they're like, I really want to have kids, but society's telling me that focus on my career. So they're just confused, right? They don't really know what they want to do. I mean, they know what they need to do. However, there's this segment of society saying, focus on the career. Focus on the career. Go focus on the career and make some money. But you see a lot of these women that that's not what they want to do. And she talks about, that time where you're approaching 30, like we all know, it's the biological clock ticking. We already know how that is. And she talks about nobody's talking about it. I mean, people have been talking about that forever. People continue to talk about it. They always talk about it. I don't know, maybe she's not, she says it's on this app where they're not talking about it. I mean, I'm not really heavy on TikTok like that anyways, but I'm pretty sure many people are talking about it. And not only that, but we're living at a time where, and especially like, okay, when she's talking about, in her part, she wants to party in her 20s, and about 30, you're looking for someone. But as you're getting older, you're finding it more difficult to find that person, right? That wants to be with you, especially now, like we're so divided, especially for man and woman, right? If you ask the women, right, there's not enough qualified men, right? Not they got the men that are out there, they're not making enough money, they don't meet certain standards. So women have this high qualification for the type of man they're looking for. And if you ask the man, men will say, these women are, obviously in their 20s, they have a large body count, right? They've slept with a lot of dudes. So who knows what kind of mental health issues that they got, because, the more dudes that you sleep with, the more mentally messed up a lot of these women are. A lot of them can't cook. They don't act like wives. So we have this dynamic where, where we have, two sides are just not able to come together and work with each other, because we have two different people with two different sets of standards, right? So you got the marriage rates that are declining, and you see that in society. So like for her, it's just like we could tell like reasons why she's feeling this way. Her and her friends are feeling like this way because what they should be doing is locking down with a husband, getting married, raising some kids, because that's, as we all know, that's where, especially for a lot of women, that's where they find their happiness. Okay. And for them, it's just, focus on career. And by the time, you're making a certain amount of money, then you can then focus on finding a husband. But let's be real, like a lot of dudes aren't checking for 40-year-olds to build, have a family with. Like if you're a guy and you want to start building a family, you want to make sure that at least, a woman is in, she's healthy enough to actually, birth children. Right. And that's for a lot of people is where, the struggle comes with, right? Obviously, women have been lied to with this whole focus on career, focus on something that's not going to make you happy, right? And that's pretty much it. So, for her, what she needs to do is she's like a very attractive woman. She needs to lock in, find a man, find a husband, and get married, have some kids, right? That's where and I'm not saying it's easy because look, I'm a person, I'm not married, no children. Obviously eventually that's hopefully that's the goal in the future. But for her, because obviously for a guy, there's no biological clock. I can have kids up to I'm 50 if I wanted to. But for her, look at, man, very attractive woman. You might as well lock that thing down now, and and find that happiness with a family. So those are my thoughts. Interested to hear your thoughts. Make sure to leave a comment down below, hit the like button, and share. And if you haven't done so, then make sure to subscribe. All right, so guys, take care. Have a good one. Later.